Welcome to the Double R Show, the podcast that features everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, directed and produced by Paul Robertson and hosted by the voice of Lincoln City, Roger Robertson.
The Lincoln City Chief of Police, Broderick, the Chief, joins us on the podcast. And Chief, you've been with the Department of Lincoln City PD for a number of years, correct?
18, I think, going on 19.
Some would say you probably are beginning to like being here.
Yeah, I guess so. I think I've been in law enforcement for 26 years in the county at this point.
What brings somebody into law enforcement?
I don't know. I think I graduated high school and didn't have anything better to do, and I thought that looked like a cool job. Actually, I think when I was a kid, I saw a trooper named Danny Labazon come to my high school at one point, and I thought, that guy looks really sharp in uniform. I'd like to do that someday. And here I am.
As Chief of Police for the city of Lincoln City, you've got a number of officers, a number of other people as well that work in this building.
Yeah, we're allotted 45 total employees, 28 sworn officers, the rest support staff and dispatch. And we're a little bit short right now because of hiring processes. So I think we're right at 40 people right now. So we employ a lot of people. There's a lot of stuff going on.
And the number of people, officers that you hire, that's not just an easy task to all of a sudden, I'm a cop, right?
No, it takes a long time, and it takes us a long time. From the recruiting stage to going through those applications, the testing, the background investigation, the other things that go along with that. I would say maybe 1 out of 20 applicants that we get through that process with actually makes it to this point.
What do you look for specifically, Chief?
We're looking for good people. We're looking for professionalism, honesty, ethical people to come here and work hard and take care of the citizens and the visitors and each other. And unfortunately, sometimes that's hard to find.
Obviously, you got a bigger department here in Lincoln City than a town of this size normally would have, but then you also have a tourism industry that you've got to deal with as well, right?
Sure. I mean, I don't know the stats right offhand, but I think that probably on any given day, especially during the summer, that we're looking between 25 and 50,000 people here, depending on what events going on, what the weather's like in the valley, how many people are traveling through. So, yeah, we're busy.
I would think so. And you being busy probably is not always a good thing.
Well, it's not a good thing, especially if you're short-staffed. Mm-hmm. The officers, they work 12-hour shifts, and they start at 6 in the morning and at 6 at night, and they're usually running from 6 to 6. You usually don't see them. I haven't seen a police officer in this building today. They're on the street taking calls.
That's a lot of work in a concentrated period of time.
It is. It's unexplainable, actually, how hard these guys work and how fast they go. And, they're dealing with the call, they're dealing with the custody, then they have to write the report, then they have to get that report approved, and they're doing all that stuff in the span of 24, 48 hours for each one of those incidents.
Eddie Moore inside the car has got just a wealth of electronics that is usable at the hand of the officer, right?
Yeah, so they have their mobile data terminal in there. All the calls are dispatched via the radio and that terminal. And so they get that information firsthand there. A lot of that stuff, they can put notes in and clear some of those minor calls in the car. But anything criminal or anything of substance, they have to come back here and actually do a police report in the record system.
When an officer stops a car, what is the first thing that they're looking for?
Well, they're looking to be safe.
Okay, good.
They're looking to keep themselves safe, keep the driver of that vehicle safe and the surroundings safe. And then they're just there's a host of things they could stop them for. You have an expired tag on your plate or speeding. The infraction would kind of dictate how the stop goes.
And at what point in time does he call or she call for an additional car, an extra backup?
Well, that would totally depend on the circumstances and on that officer, how he's feeling, what he's seeing, what he perceives. And it happens. Sometimes you're out there and you see something you don't like or you don't feel comfortable with, and you just think, I need to get another person here, and they'll call for a cover car.
Police officers got to be very intuitive.
That's a good word for it. Yeah, I mean, they obviously fall back on their training and experience. These guys go through a lot of training to spot those things that could be dangerous, and some of it's just, sometimes the hair on the back of your neck stands up a little bit, and you think, I'm going to get somebody else here just so I can be safe.
And talking about training, they're not just trained here in Lincoln City.
No, there's a 16-week academy at DPSST, which is Department of Public Safety Standards and Training over in Salem. So once they're hired here, generally we can't get them into the academy right away, so they'll start their field training here, which is also a 16-week program. And usually somewhere in the middle of that, we'll get them into the academy, get them through that, and then they'll come back here and finish up their FTEP, is what we call it, field training evaluation. And then even after that, for the next year or two after they're out of that training program, they're monitored and mentored quite heavily by the supervisors, because it takes a while to get this thing comfortable, I guess, is what I would say.
So just because you become a sworn officer doesn't mean that you're in the car by yourself just automatically, right?
No, you're about 52 weeks out, and in our hiring process, our field training is part of that hiring process. They're evaluated daily on paper with a daily evaluation report in, I think, 28 or 30 categories. And that daily report is monitored by the sergeants and by command staff. And if that person's fallen short, then we either try to provide them more training, remedial training, or at some point we have to decide they just can't make it here.
This podcast literally is heard all over the world, or it can be heard all over the world. What would you say to a potential employee officer that would encourage that person to apply to the Lincoln City PD?
I would say a lot of things. I would say that I think that this is the best department in the state of Oregon to come to work for. We have great facilities. We have great training. We have the best community support that I've ever seen in all of my law enforcement career. It's outstanding, and one thing that law enforcement is lacking right now across the nation is community support of the cities and the counties that they work for, and we don't want for any of that here. And so if you want to come to work for somebody where you're going to have good equipment, good pay, good training, and community that loves you, this is the spot. And I wouldn't say it if it weren't true.
Chief Broderick, Lincoln City PD. We'll be back in a moment.
A quick program note. We recorded our interview with Chief Broderick prior to the untimely passing of retired Sergeant and Student Resource Officer Oscar Escalante. Our condolences go out to the family and to the larger community, and thank him for his many, many years of service to Lincoln City. We'll be back after this.
When looking for the bestsellers of today and yesterday, look no further than Bob's Beach Books. Hi, I'm Diana Portwood, and on behalf of my sister Emily at Roberts Bookshop, we thank our dad, Bob, for the vision he had in establishing our 2 family-owned bookstores in Lincoln City.
Northwest Septic Service is your one-stop shop for all your septic needs.
Northwest Septic Service offers pumping, maintenance, repair, and inspections with one call, 541-994-6977.
Buying or selling a home? Northwest Septic Service can inspect your sewer line or an entire septic system.
Old or failing septic system? Northwest Septic Service can rejuvenate most drain fields, saving you thousands of dollars. 541-994-6977.
Serving Lincoln, Tillamook, and Yamhill counties, Northwest Septic Service.
Hey, it's Jesse Geller with the Beach Club and Event Center. Need a few more reasons to stop on by? We're now offering Taco Tuesdays and Italian Wednesdays. If you need a space to rent, we're your people. We're located at 2020 Northeast 22nd Street in Lincoln City.
Allison Nelson Robertson is my next guest. She is the Urban Renewal Director and also in charge of economic development for the city of Lincoln City, right?
Yes.
And my daughter-in-law.
Oh, yeah, don't forget that part.
That important part, that most important part. Economic development does what?
Economic development is a very broad topic, and you will see a lot of different cities or counties that have economic development, and they all define it in different ways. For Lincoln City, it really stems from how to provide housing is one. Housing is a major thing that the city identified several years ago as needing more attention. And so economic development with finding developers for city properties and urban renewal properties, and then finding incentives and basically listening to developers about what struggles they have in creating more housing units. And obviously, I may hear some of those things, and I work very closely with our planning director and Public Works about what are those barriers to create housing, and then how can Public Works and planning work to help remove those barriers, just in general. As a government, we don't want to hinder development. We want to support it in the right way, in the right part of town, in the right zone, and really help fill in the gaps for what we need in terms of growth.
Do we have a lot of parcels in Lincoln City that are developable?
So I would say yes in Lincoln City. In terms of public properties, I would say besides the villages at Cascade Head, no. We are working with developers to build at the villages at Cascade Head. There are 2 properties that have landed in my lap to have the opportunity to work with developers and get built. The rest of it is identifying areas that are not developable, like wetland, that are required to have setbacks and stay out of natural resource areas. And so that's more the planning department that has been working on basically doing the foundational work of planning and zoning to create an easier way to develop the village's property. But I am working on 2 of those properties with developers, obviously not on my own. I need lots of support from Public Works and Planning with questions, and legal for sure. So economic development is not a solo sport. It is a group activity, and you really need lots of minds at the table to problem solve and think about things down the road that are going to come up. So besides housing, we have also been working on this 2018 public property development offering. So those properties, there were 4 urban renewal properties and 4 city properties. Those were made available to the public in 2018, and we had a great response from those. Commercial properties have been slow, and the reason is because escalation of construction prices, materials, labor, financing. Banks were very hesitant to be loaning for commercial through COVID, the pandemic, and I think that that's turning now. I think that things are turning and getting into a better position for people. So we will be talking more with those developers for the commercial properties. Obviously, we've seen the housing properties go forward. We have this great project that's happening in the north end of town, and right on its coattails is the Housing Authority of Lincoln County's project. That's another 44 units. Both of those projects will be income qualified. I'm trying to think of what else is on the list of things that I work on.
Well, let's switch gears. Let's go to urban renewal. Urban renewal, a lot of people conjure up all sorts of false impressions what urban renewal is and isn't, don't they?
Urban renewal has a very complex history. When it first started back in the 60s, it really destroyed communities and built highways through communities and relocated people, and does not have a good start. And in Lincoln City, I would say that it has had a very good success. The urban renewal of today is not the urban renewal of yesterday, and each community that decides to use urban renewal, which is one of the few opportunities for additional financing, there is an impact to other taxing districts when a city or county decides to use urban renewal for financing capital improvement projects, and that has to be balanced carefully. But urban renewal in Lincoln City, which we first started in 1988, has done millions of dollars of public improvement projects throughout town that many of us recognize and may not know are urban renewal projects, such as undergrounding overhead utilities, your favorite. Also restructuring Southwest 51st Street in Taft, for example. That used to have a lot of sand deposition, and you couldn't really see where the road was, and the parking didn't feel very organized, and there wasn't a lot of it. And so there was a seawall that was put in to keep the sand out and more parking available. And so, sidewalks and street lamps and beautification efforts to make it more inviting for locals and visitors. So that's an example of one of the Taft projects that was done. We also have a sidewalk that is coming on board soon with the help of Public Works that Urban Renewal has designed. And that will be in Cutler City from the Schooner Creek Bridge connecting to the turnout on Highway 101, just north of the new Pelican Brewing Company. There's a gravel shoulder, if you will, that will be paved and a lot safer and provide better designated pedestrian space. And the only reason why that is getting constructed is because Public Works was able to talk with ODOT about pedestrian funding, and we have gotten $540,000 to build that sidewalk. Wow. So we're really excited about this partnership with ODOT, with the city, and with Urban Renewal to finish and provide one unified walkway from Cutler City all the way down 51st and Taft.
As I heard you talk about different activities, you come back to the fact it's not a single department that handles everything.
That's right. Absolutely. This is a team effort. We work in alignment with one another on various projects under council's guidance about what their priorities are. And that happens every year with budget process. It happens with grant opportunities if we're successful in getting those. And I don't know, it's very challenging and it's very rewarding to work for the public and try to get some of these projects on the ground.
Allison Nelson Robertson, Urban Renewal Director, thank you very much, and we'll return right after this.
Opportunities abound on the Central Oregon coast. Chinook Winds is hiring right now for entry-level and career positions. Visit us at ChinookWinds.com to learn more about jobs in hospitality, security, slot technology, food and beverage, culinary arts, and more. Joining the Chinook Winds team means advancement potential, low-cost health coverage, free on-shift meals, free gym membership, and competitive pay. Don't miss our hiring event Saturday, September 23rd, upstairs in the Chinook Winds Convention Center from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Be ready to interview on the spot. All successful applicants are eligible for a $1,500 signing bonus. So polish up your resume and come to Chinook Winds Convention Center Saturday, September 23rd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for our hiring event. Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City, where careers are better at the beach.
Our next guest is Josh Zantillo from the Zantillo Law Group here in Lincoln City. You have a number of attorneys within your office, do you not?
That's right. We've got 5.
And each has their own specialty?
Sure. Each one of us does 2 or 3 different practice areas.
Including what?
Oh, we've got real estate, bankruptcy, estate planning, personal injury, medical malpractice, quite a few others.
Do you get into the law and order type processing?
You know, once in a while Jack does. He does civil litigation, so he's got days where it's kind of like that.
Okay. But for the most part, you are taking care of personal items, correct?
Yes, definitely.
If I have a situation or problem, can I come to you, and what is there a cost for the initial sit down?
No, our consultations are always free. So you can come and sit down, talk to an attorney, figure out what the problem is, and we'll give you an idea of what we can do and how much it would cost if you decide to hire us.
In hiring you, you are then my personal representative, correct?
That's right.
That's a lot of responsibility goes on your office.
Yeah, I think so. We take that seriously.
You'd have to.
Yeah.
The attorneys that you have in your office, you have also got a backup support system, which makes their work a whole heck of a lot easier as well, correct?
That's right. I've got 2 full-time and 1 part-time staff, and they help make everything happen smoothly.
When you started the Zantillo Law Group, did you realize it would get and grow to the magnitude that it is right now?
No, it's quite a bit bigger. It started a long time ago with Alan Andrews and has taken a lot of different forms over the years, and now it's the biggest firm in town.
And you have a number of attorneys that have been there in Lincoln City for some time.
Sure. David Kramer's been an attorney longer than I have, and so is Isaac Ursoff and Brian Green. They've all been attorneys much longer than I have. So I've got myself, I've got 3 attorneys that have more experience than I do, and I've got an associate who's probably the best associate I've ever worked with.
The law group itself, you are available 24/7?
Our website's up 24/7. We're open Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5, and Friday, 9 to 1.
But there does come a time that people need you for whatever reason. I would venture a guess you're there.
Yes, definitely.
What is the most unusual item you're ever asked to represent?
Name changes are kind of fun sometimes, and so are
Business?
adoptions.
Business or individual names?
No, individual name changes. There's some interesting ones out there, and also adoptions are very unique. Each one is.
Got a situation? Talk to an attorney. Talk to an attorney from the Santillo Law Group, Lincoln City. If you're looking for great early garden fresh produce, it's Kenny's IGA in the Bay Area of Lincoln City. 4 generations of Morgans caring for your every grocery need. All of your favorite beverages, a full deli, meat, produce, and of course, groceries.
Wouldn't it be great to have all your insurance needs handled by one agency? This is Charlotte Lado with Farmers Insurance and the Insurance Store. Visit our office next to the Wildflower Grill in Lincoln City. Let us be your one stop for your personal, commercial, health, and Medicare insurance needs.
I'm Adina Zeller. Zellers is now in 2 North Lincoln County locations. The original Zellers in Rose Lodge and now Zellers in Lincoln City, formerly Maxwell's. Zellers with great family food and kickin' fun like our line dancing. Just wait until you try our homemade clam chowder.
I'm Bruce Polby, reminding you to be prepared. We have a variety of life-saving go kits in stock at Lincoln City Sporting Goods, your electronic superstore in the heart of Lincoln City.
Probably one of the hardest jobs to volunteer for, I think, in the city of Lincoln City is to become a planning director. Anne-Marie Skinner is with me right now talking about the planning department. It's a lot of work to be a member of the planning commission, is it not?
It is a lot of work, yes. We have our planning commission is formally made up of 7 individuals. They are volunteers. They are appointed by the city council. Right now, we only have 6. We've had a very difficult time in getting a full planning commission. It's been a couple years, I think, since we've had a full 7 membership. We had, unfortunately, we had a few members that passed away. That was very sad, but it is a lot of work, and my hat is off to the individuals that serve on the Planning Commission now, because especially right now, because we're in the middle of updating the comprehensive plan, and that's probably a lot more than any of them ever bargained for when they said, oh, I want to be a planning commissioner.
Comprehensive plan is what?
Well, that is a very good question. And I will try to explain it so that your eyes don't glaze over. Probably the easiest, simplest thing to say is it's a land use vision for the city. So it's a vision for how we want the city to look like in 20 years. Mm-hmm. Comprehensive plans are supposed to be developed for the 20-year future.
Is it a living document then?
It is absolutely a living document. So, and that is a very, very good point, because it is not something that once we finish this, we're done. We're never touching it for 20 years. That's not the way it works. What I mean is, what we're doing right now is a complete overhaul, because nothing has been done with it since really 1984. So definitely the language needs to be updated. There's terms in there that are definitely 80s terms that you just don't use anymore. But if once we finish this, if say in a year we see something that doesn't quite fit or we want to change that, there's no reason why we can't do that. So it's not set in stone for the next 20 years.
I think a lot of people have got the misconception that it is in granite. It's just, that's it.
They do. And so that's why I'm glad you brought that up, because that's just not the case. It's fluid. People change, circumstances change, the demographics can change, and we want our comprehensive plan to always be reflective of that.
Is a comprehensive plan, say in Newport and in Lincoln City, all going to be the same?
No, and that is because the demographics are different in each city. Each city has its own vision. If Newport and Lincoln City's vision was exactly the same, then I would say probably our comprehensive plans would be fairly similar. Now, all comprehensive plans in Oregon are going to have the same basic elements, in that the state has adopted 19 statewide planning goals. So every jurisdiction in the state, their comprehensive plan has to, in some fashion, show how they're complying with the statewide planning goals. So they're all similar in that respect, but it doesn't mean that the comprehensive plan lists each statewide planning goal and says this is how we're complying with it. You don't have to do that. You can combine the statewide planning goals, you can organize your chapters however you want. And so that's where you see the creativity and the differences in the comprehensive plans.
If I'm sitting on the outside and I've got something I want to include in the comprehensive plan, can I, or am I still on the outside?
You are not on the outside at all. And I am doing my utmost to get the word out there that we are undertaking this right now. Comments and feedback are always welcome. I've got a web page set up on our website specifically for the 20-year, which would be 2043, Lincoln City Comprehensive Plan. There's a link on it that you can click on and provide comments. Anyone can email me comments. We did online surveys, a couple last year. I had open houses last year. I have a list of people that have given me their email address that want to receive updates, and anyone who wants to be added to that list, all they need to do is give me the word. And so whenever I receive those comments, the comments are posted to the website and they're given to Planning Commission for consideration.
So what's the next step?
Well, also a good question. You have very good questions. We have finished the final rough drafts of the introduction, housing, transportation, public facilities, natural resources, and citizen involvement, community engagement. So we are now working on getting the final rough drafts done for economic development, parks, and community resiliency, and then the very last one will be land use planning and land use designations. Once those are all done, then we're going to look at all of them as a whole to see where we've maybe have too many redundancies and where we can tighten it up and just make it flow better. And then we're going to send it off to an editor to edit it and put in all the pretty graphics and make it look pretty. And then it'll go to public hearings.
And the public hearings will be in front of the Planning Commission, the City Council, or both?
Both. Planning Commission will have public hearings, and what they do is they give a recommendation to City Council. I would assume that they would recommend approval since they are the ones who are largely putting it together. And then once they've given their recommendation, then it goes to City Council, and City Council approves it. And then from there, it goes to the state, and the state has to officially approve it and acknowledge it before it becomes really, really official.
And you anticipate this to be completed by?
I'm anticipating mid next year, March-ish, April-ish is when I'm hoping to have it through public hearing.
All right. I guess we'll wait and see and follow it. Actually, they can watch it on television as well.
They can. Yes. The meetings and public hearings are all live streamed. The work sessions are audio recorded, so they can't watch the work sessions on television, but the audio recording is posted to the website and they can listen.
I want to remind our listeners, it is your city. It is your responsibility for your city. Be involved. Talk to Anne Marie Skinner, Planning Director, City of Lincoln City. As we approach the mid-September, end of September, there's still lots of activities in and around the Lincoln City community. Of course, this weekend, it's the annual Celebration of Honor up at Chinook Winds Casino Resort. This is a marvelous event as we salute and say thank you to all of the veterans that have given so much and continue to give so much. So this weekend, thank a vet. And if you see all of the flags up in Lincoln City, it's the Kiwanis that posted them on behalf of our good friends that are the veterans of this community. Also, the Commodores are going to be on stage at Chinook Winds September 16th. It's a heck of a concert, and a few tickets are still available for that. On the 17th, we got the Camp Westwind Trail Construction Party. That's going to be 9 to 3 out at Camp Westwind. September 23rd is the Haunted Taft Laughter Tour. That takes place 7 to 8:30 in the Bay Area of Lincoln City. If you're wondering what is happening with the activities with the city of Lincoln City, on the 25th, we got a city council meeting. The 28th, we got a sustainable committee meeting. Planning Commission meets October 3rd, Library Board October 4th, and the City Council again on October 9th. And again, we remind you, if you have got some spare time, would like to volunteer for one of the many committees that the city does have, please do not hesitate to climb on board. It is a great way to give back to our community. Speaking of giving back to our community, the Lincoln City Post 97 of the American Legion meets the first Tuesday of each month, high noon. And that meeting takes place at the Hilltop Restaurant in Lincoln City. Let's see what else we have. We did mention the Fall Kite Festival, September 23rd, 10 to 4 at Dee River Wayside Park will fill the skies with beauty manyfold over with all of the kites, all of the gorgeous kites in the skies that weekend. Senior Fair, October 3rd, 9 to 4 up at Chinook Woods Casino Resort. Over 50 vendor booths will be there for you to explore. There will be free health screenings, free admission, and the hourly drawing for the Senior Fair this year, since it is the 30th annual event, will be $300 an hour. And again, we remind you, you must be present to win. So that's coming up October 3rd, Senior Fair. October 5, On Stage Alaska. That takes place at the Cultural Center. And then December the 2nd is the Angels Ball. That will do it to the doings on a Double R show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share so you and your family and friends around the world and across the street can join us on the Double R show. For Paul and Jana, I'm Double R. Have yourself a happy day.
You've been listening to The Double R Show. Join Roger and Paul Robertson as they explore everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, produced by Always Productions and hosted by Roger Robertson. Have a story? Email contact@alwaysproductions.com or call 458-201-3039. For The Double R Show, I'm Jana Grahn.